There is a piece of wisdom from the philosopher James P. Carse that is not a simple quote, but a framework for seeing the world. It goes like this: there are at least two kinds of games. One could be called finite, the other infinite. A finite game is played for the purpose of winning, an infinite game for the purpose of continuing the play. This is not a metaphor. It is a diagnostic tool for understanding human ambition. A finite game has a known beginning and end. It has fixed rules and a clear, agreed-upon winner. A football match, a game of chess, an election, these are finite games. When the game is over, it's over. An infinite game, however, is different. The rules are changeable, and there are no winners or losers, only players who drop out when their will or resources are exhausted. The objective is not to win, but to perpetuate the game, to keep it in play. Friendship is an infinite game. Culture is an infinite game. A healthy business, in theory, should be an infinite game. We are taught to be finite players. We are conditioned to seek the win, the promotion, the exit, the finish line. But what happens when a finite player goes up against an infinite player? I want to take you to the personal computer revolution of the 1980s. There were two players who would come to define the entire era: Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft, under Bill Gates, was perhaps the most brilliant finite player in the history of business. Their objective was clear, definable, and winnable: to put a personal computer on every desk and in every home, running Microsoft software. They were playing to win the operating system war. Their strategy was built on this objective. They licensed their software to a vast array of hardware manufacturers. They focused on dominating market share, and they ruthlessly outmaneuvered their competition. Apple, under Steve Jobs, was playing a different game. Their objective was not to win, but to make a dent in the universe. They were not trying to beat the competition. They were trying to beat their own last creation. Their focus was on advancing the art of personal computing, on creating elegant tools that empowered people. They were playing an infinite game. Now, when a finite player and an infinite player are on the same field, the finite player will almost always win in the short term. And that is exactly what happened. By the mid-1990s, Microsoft had won. It was game over. They had achieved a near-total monopoly. Over 90% of the world's computers ran Windows. Apple, by contrast, was on the brink of bankruptcy, a niche player with a tiny market share, dismissed as a failure. The finite player had utterly vanquished its opponent. But here is the paradox that lies at the heart of Carse's wisdom. For the finite player, winning is the end of the game. Once you have won, the game is over. Microsoft, having achieved its goal, found itself in the graveyard of winners, a corporate titan struggling to find a new purpose in a world that was moving on to the next set of games: search, social media, mobile. The infinite player, however, doesn't care about winning or losing. Their only goal is to stay in the game. And so Apple, on the verge of annihilation, did not die. Because their purpose was not tied to a finish line, they were able to completely reinvent themselves. They did not try to refight the desktop war. They started a new game. They released the iMac, then the iPod, then the iPhone. With the iPhone, they didn't just create a new product. They created an entirely new infinite game called the smartphone ecosystem. And they invited everyone, including Microsoft, to come and play on their new field, by their new rules. This story reveals a profound truth about the nature of success. The finite mindset is built for a world of predictable challenges and clear finish lines. But our world is not a series of finite games. It is a single, unfolding, infinite one. The player who is obsessed with winning the current battle is often the one who is most blind to the shifting nature of the war. The player who is simply obsessed with staying on the field, with advancing their own craft, is the one who has the resilience to survive, adapt, and ultimately, to define the future of the game itself.